David, I'll get to you in a second, but it's funny here. Frank Vaughn, which is a name I knew I've seen here on the chat board. It says, Big O, I'm not a pessimist, just a disappointed optimist. And you're 8-3. You have an owner that will spend to hell. You've got the best front office you've had since the 70s. You've got the best roster since the early 90s. You've got your best quarterback since Marino. I'm not exactly sure what's their pessimist to be about. We can be unhappy with some things like the turnovers, but pessimist? It's kind of odd, isn't that, David?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see is that someone might say, "Oh, well, this team also got to 8-3 last year, and then that's when it started going downhill." But that was a completely different story, where they were starting to run into a tougher part of the schedule, and then also, and this team is just much more advanced in the second year of Mike McDaniel's offense. Tua, although he had the 2 interceptions, which I'm sure we'll talk about, he's at a more advanced stage. And now this year, in the second year of it, the defense now really coming along under Vic Fangio. And I mean, we really saw that today in this game with, 150-something yards of offense that the Jets had a pedestrian number. So this team really looks pretty complete. And then once the offense gets back into playing the way it was, and Tua gets over these interceptions that and overall turnovers that he's been having recently, then you really see this coming together full cylinder.
Oh, you feel exactly. I was just saying that before you came on, that I think the defense has turned the corner. I think they're ready to take off like they are already. They're playing lights out. And I know the Phillips injury sucks. But, with Van Ginkel and Agba, you've got something that should be serviceable there and should be able to be all right. And you feel like I do. We're really waiting for the offense to kind of find its groove again. Okay, I'm not saying go score 70 points every week against, a team, but play more consistent. Today, I was very happy that the run game came back a little bit more. I would have liked to have seen it early in a couple of decisions early on where he got cute with the passing game. But I really like that the running games come back. To me, if you can fix the mistakes, the turnovers, that sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah. I had a feeling the run game could play a role in this one. The Jets, for as good a defense as they are a little bit vulnerable on the ground against the run. So, and they went to it heavy. 37 rush attempts. They threw the ball 30 times. So, 37 is counting the kneel down there by Mike White at the end. But still, they ran the ball more than they threw. So, Raheem Mostert got his 20 carries. Jeff Wilson, spelling him, had 11, and both of them were up around Mostert 4.7, Wilson 5.1. So they ran the ball effectively. I thought that we mentioned it pregame that might take this sort of time of possession, grinded out style, especially since the Dolphins were coming off those 3 turnovers against the Raiders just a few days ago. They're playing within the same week, and the Jets are capable of doing some of the same, and you ended up seeing it where Tua's 2 interceptions late in the first half were keeping the Jets in the game when they really shouldn't have been, and then obviously alleviated a lot by that big Javon Holland play that then once you saw that, then you knew there was no chance in the second half that anything would go awry. But the Jets stayed in the game a little bit longer because of those turnovers.
Did Tua... Was he hard on himself again? Because I hope so. I hope he was hard on himself again.
Yeah. How could you guess it, right? Tua's hard on himself after his interceptions. Yeah, like he's known to be. And then, of course, playing the blame game of everyone taking it upon themselves as well. Then Mike McDaniel also, he said he didn't like his play calls on those plays as well. And then Tua dismissed that when I mentioned to him that Mike had said that. He said, no, Mike gives us the plays and we have to execute it. So he took the brunt of it. That was on him.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's, the one sack that he got that he plants his foot, and then instead of throwing, he holds on to try to go through the next progression, and at that point it was 3.3 seconds when he gets sacked. And you know how it is. You practice with a clock that's 2.8 seconds, and in the broadcast, Herb Street's bragging about how he's averaging 2.1 seconds in the game. So figure you now took 1.2 extra seconds. And so, and then you look at those interceptions. throw transitions for him. They have to be thrown ahead of time. He's throwing them way late after the receiver has already made the break and the corner is there. That's not his kind of throw, bro. The Howland curve that he can just fire a cannon shot and he's going to sneak it past the feet. That's not it. And so to me right now, he's a little bit off kilter with everything. His timing, his reads, his delivery. There's just a little bit off right now with him, and that's where I think the mistakes are coming in.
Yeah, and something he'll have to get over. And then this is the part of the schedule to do that. This is a part of the schedule where you could still get away with those mistakes, and you end up winning it. That's why you had just a 7-point win against the Raiders, 20-13, and then this one obviously much more convincing. I had a lot of other things going for you, but. Yeah, it doesn't end up hurting the team too bad. So get over it now, where now you have Washington Commanders, the Tennessee Titans, the Jets again, before you get into that really tough 3-game stretch down the final run against the Cowboys, Ravens, and then the Bills to finish off the regular season, where maybe you're already in a position where you've either clinched at that point or are right on the verge of it, as far as clinching the division, and then you're vying for the playoff seeding among the division winners.
Does Javon Holland get fined for saying the field is trash? Talking about MetLife Stadium.
I don't know if he'll get fined, but I mean it was a huge talking point after the game, and I think it's something that the NFL, the league, will have to look into and really take these the perspective from these players seriously, because he's reacting to a beloved teammate going down on the same field where the opponent, the Jets, also week 1 had a similar situation where Aaron Rodgers had an Achilles injury on the same field, and he's maybe done for the season. I don't know if he's trying to come back and all that. I think it would be off or not if he tries to, but that's aside from the point. It's just the turf overall, and then on this field specifically, to have 2 such instances, and this is just a basic get off that Jaelan Phillips is doing tonight. He wasn't even contacted on the play, and to see a player like him go down in that way, it was tough. And you know what he means to the team when the whole sideline, after realizing what was really happening and the card has to come out, they went over to go attend to him. So that gives you some insight into who Jaelan Phillips is to all these players. And by the way, Phillips postgame, I saw him in the locker room. Yeah, he was on 2 crutches. He had a boot on his right foot, and but he was in some good spirits. I know the camera caught him with his face in the towels there as he was getting carted away. But communicating with teammates, explaining to some of them what he felt, what he experienced, and at times joking with teammates about off-subject things. And so he's a strong-minded individual, mentally tough, and now the next step is for him to get over this, which Mike McDaniel said they are preparing for the worst, and you'll find out Saturday, tomorrow, if it is indeed that worst case scenario.
And the thing with Jaelan, he's also very likable because he's a good dude, a hard worker, and all that. Now the team's in a really tough position now for him, and we'll get into that down the line. We'll talk a little bit more. What else did you see in the locker room injury wise? Because Holland got banged up, Hill got banged up. I mean, it was just one of those things, like, you wanted this game to end because the Dolphins kept losing players. Austin Jackson, as I told Safedine, Martha Stewart went to jail. She got street cred. Rappers, they go to jail, they get street cred. They sell more albums. So Austin Jackson got some street cred, baby.
That's right, and not a guy that has that reputation. So okay, I mean, Austin Jackson has killed all the narratives this season in more ways than just his play on the field. Well, I mean, and you asked about Javon Holland. I mean, seems to be all right because he was up there very quickly after the game. Went to the podium. So actually, I missed him when I was in the locker room, and then had to catch up on what he had said, but. And then, Tyreek Hill. Well, I mean, he went back in there. But it seems like every week there's Tyreek Hill experiences something rare and unique, and then he has to go back in. In this case, they taped it up on the outside of the shoe, the ankle, and he was right back to being himself. He had more than 100 yards. He had that touchdown, open field in the flat, breaking a tackle. So, giving the ball to his wife. I'm sure all of this will be chronicled on the next episode of Hard Knocks.
Yeah. I love her hat. That was a groovy hat she was wearing overall.
Well, like anyone in Miami, when you get the chance to bust out the winter closet, then you do that. When every chance you get in Miami, it's like when it's 60 degrees, then everyone has the whole winter closet out.
Dude, when we look at the Phillips situation, are you seeing a platoon, or do you think AVG or Agba take over as the main guy? How or is this one of those feel out processes for Fangio, and he doesn't even know that answer right now?
In my estimation, it would be because we already have sort of a sample size of 3 games where the team was missing Jaelan Phillips. So I would immediately venture to say, okay, a lot of Andrew Van Ginkel, and then Emmanuel Agba is the one that rotates in for him. So the first glimpse of that was the Patriots game, and then where even I remember with it being a little mysterious, and Mike McDaniel actually showed Emmanuel Agba with the first team defense in pregame warmups, but then Andrew Van Ginkel got the bulk of the action there, and then Agba worked in on some plays. So I think that's what it'll be. Chubb will do what he does on his side, and then it'll be a lot of AVG, and then Emmanuel Agba will be able to now come into a little bit more of a meaningful role rotating in on the edge. So that would be a nice boost if they can now start to get something out of him, where his snap count had been really low for a player that is making the money he's making this season.
David Furones from the South Florida Sun Sentinel joining us on the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins postgame report. Were there any? I know we were in New York, but I saw the MetLife takeover. We had a lot of Dolphin fans in the building. I'm just wondering, were paramedics called over after Jason Sanders hit a 54-yarder? Because Dolphin fans are not prepared for good things like that.
Everyone must have been in awe. I mean, I know we were watching it. It's a kick that look. Danny Crossman, the special teams coordinator, has continued to say he has confidence in Jason Sanders making those kicks, and we all probably see that as difficult to really believe, or for him to have that confidence in him.
I don't know if you saw the camera work there. The coach said, "We're going for it." And then Jason looked at him going, "Who's doing it? Me, coach?" "Oh, yeah, you." And he was like, "Me? Really? You sure Danny Crossman doesn't want to do it? Are you sure me?" And so Jason Sanders didn't believe that he was trying and attempting a 54-yarder. That's how amazing it was on the sidelines for the Miami Dolphins today. That's a joke for all of you out there, by the way, okay? So a couple of people are going to take it serious, and they're going to go, "Hey, O said that Jason Sanders didn't want to even kick." Go ahead.
Okay, that was not caught by the cameras, and let's be clear.
No.
You had me wondering. I was like, okay. I mean, I had the Prime Video on my tablet with the game going on, but I guess I wasn't watching the screen at that moment. But good, all right, good to clear that up.
It was, you know what? It was reported by the girl in for Amazon. What's her name? Carissa Thompson.
No.
You know how accurate. So now you know how accurate that story is. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
But I was amazed that he tried it. I was amazed that he made it. But in the end, in all seriousness, now all joking aside, he has to do it. Believe it or not, he has to try these things because through hell or high water, bro, you got to get this guy through it one way or another, and your team needs to find out once and for all. So you're going to need to be put in several of these positions, because before the playoffs roll around, you've got to be pretty sure that you're going to ride with this guy. So that attempt today, while sketchy of a try because of the kicker, You literally have to do these things because that's the only way you have a chance of building up some confidence in him.
You're right. There will be games where it's needed, and even last year when, I think confidence would have been at an ultimate low when Sanders hitting 50-yard field goals, because what was he going into that Jets game winner, one of five, maybe that one made it one. I forget the number, but right. He was not hitting the 50-yard field goals. I know it's resurfaced this year, but yeah, you need it in that case. There will be other moments where you need it. It could be a playoff game where he has to, maybe in a cold weather environment, or if the Dolphins keep winning, it's at home. But it will be needed at some point, because you're not just going to, one, you're not going to keep getting away with turnovers and having it be good enough. And then two, you're going to have some moments where playoff games, it comes down to something like that.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. What do you got going on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my man?
Yeah, all the updates that are we're on right now. Obviously, the Jaelan Phillips thing will be prime after this game. So following up on the news there, and then wrapping up coverage here from what was a dominant win, all things considered. Although then now we'll get into stuff we talked about. Offense has to pick some of these things up, and then a little extra like mini bye week before now you have another game week. Washington Commanders.
Shit, bye week for my ass. I'm off tomorrow and Sunday. That's what all. Oh, and by the way, so you said the Jaelan Phillips news is prime, pun intended there.
What was the pun there?
Prime, Amazon.
Oh, is it not intended? Clearly not intended. As I did not even think of that. Oh, I'm also taking an extra day here in New York. Yeah, sorry. I'm also taking an extra day here in New York. So. Especially since McDaniel's on a Zoom tomorrow for us in the media, so we don't have to be there in person in the facility. Then,
what do you got going on, bro? You Broadway play, concert? What are you doing in New York tomorrow? Tonight?
Yeah, tonight. Tonight I might hang out with Antoine Staley, who's up here now. Yeah, just at the game. Maybe we hang out here in North Jersey. He stays on this side, and then I go back to the city, and then I have tomorrow in the city. So I'll have to make my plans. I have some of my I have a friend's apartment that I can stay at after I get my 2 nights stay at a hotel through the company. That's what I'm allowed for a game, and then I could just take an extra day here on the long weekend, on my own dime to get back.
Enjoy, my brother. Stay safe out there. And we will catch up on Tuesday, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. There you go, the great David Furones. And when we talk about Welt Rheaume, 954-966-4646, bankruptcy, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. You call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. They are absolute ass kickers. They did it for me and my wife, man. When Progressive was not doing what they were supposed to do, these guys brought Progressive to their knees, and they'll do the same thing for you. 954-966-4646.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.